Coach.
Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lea joins us on 3HL, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, SpringHillAC.com. Coach, what's up? How are you?
I'm freezing cold. How are you guys doing?
See?
Is that what you're focused on, Coach?
I am inspired. I'm inspired by your words of encouragement. My feet did hit the floor, and I have an opportunity today, and I do appreciate that.
You do have an opportunity, and we all hope you have a big, fat opportunity coming up. We will talk about that. Where does that win in Knoxville Saturday stack up in your life?
Probably number one, honestly. I mean, it just was meaningful. It's the historic nature of it. The first team in program history to win 10 games, to do it in Knoxville. I mean, and look, I say that with all the respect in the world for Tennessee football and for that arena. I mean, it is the most challenging place to play in our league, and what a passionate fan base and a really good football program, and I'm proud of my team. And so to be able to get our 10th win on the road in the fashion we did, where we were able to kind of slam the door in the second half, I think was just a great way to round out our regular season. And that one's an all-timer for me.
Scores 21-14 late in the fourth quarter, and in the room that I was in, we talked about, well, Vanderbilt has a real opportunity here. Score a touchdown and then double up because they get the ball first in the second half. Was that the mindset?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the middle eight. So we're trying to, we deferred. There was early in the week we had talked about maybe taking the ball just because Tennessee had so much success in the first drives and in the first quarter. But we really kind of took an approach to the week to make it about us and what is our strategy, what best positions our team, because we believe in who we are. We believe in this group, and so we deferred, and it happened to work out to where we were able to possess the ball there. We chewed the clock out of the first half. I think gave them 12 seconds on their return possession. They kneeled it out. And then, coming out in the second half, that was a drive that was missing for us from the Alabama game. We were in the same position. We just didn't have that return drive. But I thought that was a great way to start the second half. Then we get a stop defensively, and it just kind of snowballed from there for us.
Yeah, so, I've talked to a lot of coaches, and sometimes they say, well, adjustments at halftime are overblown. And others say, yeah, you really can see things and adjust. So 21-14 turns into 31-3 Vanderbilt, 24-3 in the second half. Were there things that you guys had adjusted to at halftime that you saw and were able to take advantage of in the second half?
Well, I think what you do is you kind of recognize, all right, we have an idea of what their plan is. We have some of the plays on our sheet that we like, some of them that we're going to get beyond, and then you do take a couple of wrinkles maybe that you haven't practiced in the week that you might, as the game is settled and you kind of have an idea of what the opponent's trying to do. These are things that might work for us. So on both sides of the ball, we took some things into that second half that we hadn't called yet that we felt good about. We doubled down on the structures that we liked, and then our kids, played hard and played physically. I mean, the physical nature of that game was, I think, what I was most proud of. And when you play the right way, the game honors toughness, and that's what they did. And I credit our staff for making the necessary adjustments at halftime, and by adjustments just meaning stick with the things that work, throw the things out that doesn't work, and is there a couple of things we need to add here to be at our best. And the players went out, executed at a high level, but played really, really physically, which again allowed us to separate.
Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lea with us on 3HL.
I mean, straight ran the mess out of the ball on him.
What was it, 314 and 5 touchdowns?
I was just going to say, that is just establishing physicality, Coach, right there. That's what that run game's all about, and y'all did it.
Yeah, we say run to win, and I think late in that game we were able to pop a couple that felt like they were kind of the nails in the coffin. And that anytime you can do that, it feels great. And again, that's the kind of team we want to be. And again, I credit our staff and our players for putting us in that position.
All right, Coach, what is Diego Pavia like during halftime? Does he talk a lot? What does he say? Is he too turnt? Like, what is a halftime segment where we talk these adjustments and whatever you do? What's Diego Pavia like?
Well, he's locked in, which is what he always is. I mean, he's locked in. He's making connection with coaches, connection with other players. There's never a moment where he's necessarily totally still or totally quiet. Of course, that's our team too. It's just there's an energy in our locker room at halftime. A year ago when we were playing South Carolina at home, it started our November stretch, and it was coming out of a bye week actually. And I came in the locker room at halftime, the locker room, quote unquote, that was our weight room at the time because we were still under construction. And you could hear a pin drop. We were down 7-0, and there was just no energy, no juice. And I let the team have it. And I think part of that, again, was this idea that we were just on the doorstep of being in that game, and what we needed to have is that spirit and energy. I learned a lot about what the team needs from that experience. We were late in the season. We'd given a lot to the year. I felt like we were running out of steam. That was the first time I recognized it. South Carolina goes on to, I feel like, physically put us away in the second half, and I think the final was 28-7. Now when you come into our locker room at halftime, there is a constant buzz and energy. There will be music. Obviously, there's coaching conversations going on. The players are connecting. And Diego's right in the center of that. So engaging with coaches, having conversation with players, and then just making connection across the ball, that kind of sets the tone for us. I'll have a few words for the guys before we go back out, and then we get to work. But, you can always feel his energy. You can always feel his connection, and halftime is no exception.
So Diego is a lightning rod, right? I mean, people love to love him or love to hate him. You're talking to Heisman voters here on this show. So I know that the Heisman campaign is in full steam ahead, two-turn hats. I see them all around the city now. But why should Diego Pavia be the Heisman Trophy winner in your mind?
Well, because he's the best player in college football. I mean, I think the stats bear that out. I mean, he's done it throwing, he's done it running, he's led the most effective offense in the country. Some of the numbers are a little misleading because, especially early in the season, we were still so methodical. So we haven't snapped the ball as many times as a lot of our competitors have. Late in the season, as we really started to lean on some of the tempo, you saw the potential of what he can do when you don't put any restrictions on him. And so leading the comeback against Texas, which we fell just short, gave way to erasing the deficit we had against Auburn in our offense, taking over that game. There was a dominant performance against Kentucky, in which he set records, and then obviously the game against Tennessee where he also set records. So to me it's a no-brainer. The impact he's had on our team, the way he's transformed, this program, the consistency he's played with throughout the season, the numbers are all there. He's the best player in the game, and he deserves to be honored that way. And I hope that he's recognized for that because he deserves it. I mean, this is a guy that has found ways to improve throughout his career, found ways to prove people wrong throughout his career, and he takes over the game when he's behind center. And there's only so many people that can do that. He happens to be one of them. And again, I don't think there's any question he's the best player in the country and deserves not only to be in New York, but to win the award.
Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lea with us on 3HL. Coach, another question where you've got to kind of defend and sell and all those things. But and I know you don't view it that way, but if the system put the flat out 12 best teams, we were talking about this yesterday, in the country into the playoff, Vanderbilt would be in. However, they do not do it that way. And you guys should be in, but likely will not be. If each prospective playoff coach were allowed the opportunity to address the committee, what would you say in that room?
Well, I mean, again, where we're positioned right now has everything to do with the fact that our team has not been given the credit for the entirety of the season for how good we are, and that has meant when we've won games against teams, they have tumbled out of the top 25. All right, even though obviously we play in the best league in the country, and it's like it is clockwork that we'll play against a ranked team. When we played against 4 of them that have been ranked in the top 15 when we played them, and now they're out of the top 25 after we beat them. It's just there's a lack of respect there. We're 10-2 against the spread. That indicates that there's something in the way the projected point differential is set up and the way the computers view our team that says we're not actually respected for how good we are. We were 2.5-point underdogs going to play at Tennessee, a game we won by 21 points. So, and by the way, too, and I wish I had this in front of me, but I'm almost certain that when Oklahoma beat Tennessee by 6 points, they rose in the poll a certain number of spots. We actually fell in the AP poll.
Incredible.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
After we beat Tennessee by 21. So you tell me what's going on here. I mean, it's absurdity. So we're a 10-win SEC football team. We were undefeated at home. Our 2 losses are on the road at Alabama and at Texas. Both games we were within striking distance in the fourth quarter. I would love to play those 2 games again. Just like anything. Hey, we've learned a lot about our team, and what did we do from those games? We grew. We got better. We strengthened, and we're playing our best football here late. We have a Heisman front runner taking snaps for us at quarterback. He's such a fun and dynamic player to follow. College football would love to see this guy in the playoff, playing under the brightest lights, biggest stages. We're 11th in the country in terms of strength of record. There's only 4 teams ranked ahead of us that have a stronger strength of schedule. We are the most efficient offense in the. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
This has got to be about blind resumes. If they were looking at this blind resumes, I think it would absolutely strengthen our case, but it's not. So they look at our logo, they attach the bias they have that Vanderbilt football can't be that good, whatever, and we find ourselves in a position where we have to scrap it out. And I have said, you tell me where we need to go and play this weekend. And I'm there with my team, and they're ready. If that's at Miami, we'll go to them. At Miami, at Utah, at Notre Dame, wherever. We believe in this team. We believe this team deserves a chance to play for a national championship. And whatever it takes for us to get in, we will do it.
Those points you just made, we talked about yesterday. Babs made the point that the blind resume thing. And that led us down a path of,
I was talking about Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be in.
The human personality and the human psyche, I guess, sees the word Vanderbilt and has this historic notion of what they expect you guys to be. You're not in that box. Mm-hmm. You're simply not in that box. And my question is, what does this team have to do with any of those other teams?
Well, and here's what I'm going to tell you. This will be the only time we have to deal with this because perception changes are just a lag effect of results. And so here's the deal. Our final game at 24 was a win in the Birmingham Bowl against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is a team that the entire season got the benefit of the doubt, was ranked ahead of us for most of the season as we were battling through the gauntlet of the SEC. That is in and of itself a signal of the bias and the discrepancy in terms of how we're treated. And it felt like as the year went on, there was more, the gap got wider. There was more we had to do to earn that respect. And so here we are, in a situation where I'm riding home from Tennessee, and on the ticker on the bottom line, it's like, hey, Vanderbilt has a 10% chance of getting in the playoff. and that's absurd. So what I ask the committee to do is look at the facts over the bias. That's the blind resume part of it. We just look at the data and tell me that we don't have a really strong case to be in that playoff. And if you can look at the facts and disregard the bias, I think there's no way we're not competing for a national championship.
One more thing that's great stuff, Coach. One more thing on the way out. I know you can't specifically talk about players until tomorrow in terms of high school players, but if there were a 5-star quarterback signed with you, how big would that be for your program?
Well, yeah, to your point, the only thing that I am clearly aware of is that I can't comment on individual recruits, and I want to be very careful not to do that. I will say in general, all the momentum that we're building right now is rippling out in every facet of our program, including recruiting. And it's giving us opportunities to finish right now with this class in a way that I'm really excited about. And it's going to give us opportunities as we get to the portal in early January to strengthen our roster in ways that we haven't been able to do. So all those things are positive. And look, we have a challenge ahead of us with respect to, replacing some high-level production that'll be leaving our program, some really impactful players that have helped us get to this point. And so our attention as we do turn the page is going to be on how we strengthen, how we pull the momentum forward, how we build a better program. And the legacy of this team will be the platform they've given us from which to launch forward. And it's my job to help us reach for new heights.
Coach, do you remember SEC Media Days? I think it was, 2 years ago? Maybe 2 years ago, where you got up on the podium and talked about winning a national title, and there was a lot of people that laughed about it. Do you remember that moment and the response to it, and how does it feel?
And the journey's fun, huh?
Yeah, how does it feel like? I mean, we're talking about, I know you're not talking about it, but we're talking about a possible 5-star quarterback and recruiting and, a college football playoff appearance and all these things.
Yeah, so that was July of 22, and that was coming off our debacle of a first season where we were 2-10, and what I said was, in time we'll build the best program in the country, and I swear to God, there was no part of that statement that I thought would. I mean, I was just speaking my truth. That's my belief. I don't shy away from that, and I think Vanderbilt football was like on the ESPN headlines for a full 24 hours. And it was basically saying, look at this lunatic. And I think the world was laughing. And I remember calling Barton and saying, hey, look, I guess they say, there's no such thing as bad attention or whatever.
Yeah, just spell my name right.
Yeah. So ultimately, I said it because it was what was on my heart and it was my belief. And we've committed to process, and we've also pivoted. We've had to make adjustments along the way, but that's what smart people do. We figure it out. We're going to find a way through. It still comes down to the fact that this place has great bones. It's a top 15 school in Nashville, Tennessee, playing in the SEC. It's a school that historically has never paid attention to football, never invested in football, never cared for this program. And when I signed up for this job, I knew that I had alignment and partners with the chancellor and with our athletics director. So that was a starting point. And what we've had to do is just strengthen that partnership and continue to kind of walk shoulder to shoulder and adjust together and adapt together and to get to this point. But when you have that connection, when you have that alignment, I think anything's possible, and that's what we're showing right now.
So many coaching openings going on. We were sitting here when there was no word out of Vanderbilt camp for a couple of weeks on extension, or, is Coach Lea looking elsewhere? What's going to happen? Obviously, Vandy is home. You make the decision to stay. The investment is there, but why stay? Why not consider other jobs? And why is Vanderbilt the place for you to continue?
Well, I want to be clear. I think the narrative of this is home is not actually true to what I believe in. I mean, this is my career. So this is about winning. It's about establishing a winning program that sustains championship level play over time. That's always been the focus. And I believe that there's potential for that here, but there has to be continued investment and support. And again, go back to the alignment. The alignment has to be there with the vision of sustained success at a championship level. So, to say, I think all of us need to constantly challenge where we are and what we're doing. And all of us need to take time to step back and say, is this inspiring to me? Do I believe in it? Is this headed in the direction that I want for it to go. The trouble is, as a college football coach right now, you have to do that while you are also preparing your team to win games. And that is the focus. And so I'm really proud of the fact that as all this was kind of buzzing around, that I've got a team and a coaching staff that maintained an incredible level of focus on the task at hand to do what we needed to do. I was able to compartmentalize in my role and where I needed to, lift up and think big picture, I was able to do it. When I needed to step in and dial in, I did that too. In the end, here's my belief. The roots that we've planted here, and I'm talking about program roots, run deep. This is not something that's happened overnight, though it can be treated that way on the surface level. This has been 5 years of blood and guts, investment, foundation, and we're really proud of that. I think in a lot of ways, all these programs that are looking for coaches want what we have. And so I am not going to be fast to walk away from that. I do not think that is overrated in terms of the investment that we put into this, the foundation we've laid in place. And then it becomes a question of, are we pointed in a direction? Is there a clear trajectory here to continue to elevate the program? And that's where conversations between me and the chancellor and Candace become so critical to this shared vision for what the future looks like. And I can tell you, I came away from those totally inspired around what they believe in and what they believe is possible. And my job is to keep pushing, keep pushing the limits, keep pushing in that void between where we are and where we want to be. But I'm also very proud and energized by the fact that I've got leaders ahead of me that are with me stride for stride. And so why Vanderbilt? Because this is a place that we've created exactly how we've wanted to do it. We've got the roots in place. We've got the foundation in place. The challenge moving forward is going to be sustaining. And again, how are we going to replace very important pieces that we'll be moving on after this season? How do we find a way to elevate the product on the field, to keep it energized in our stadium? But those are the fun parts. When I know I have alignment and support from very top positions of leadership at the university and within our department, it is so exciting to think about what we can accomplish. It will be hard, but it will certainly be fun.
Well, selfishly, we're glad that the extension thing is there, and we're going to love having you on the show. You always give everything you have to everything you do, including these conversations with us ridiculous people. One thing on the way out, I know Slay was upset that he's covering basketball in Bristol. He'll be all over the ESPN properties today, but he did want to tell you hello and congrats on the win. And speaking of SEC Media Days, I'm sure your greatest memory at SEC Media Days was Slay on his knee replacement scooter. You kept running up to him. I know you enjoyed that.
Well, I just feel like it was so dramatic. And honestly, I know, I can only imagine that he's still in that damn scooter. Like, I'm sure he's still wheeling around everywhere. At some point, you have to be recovered. That's at least my belief. So
he's complaining about his hip now, so the scooter may return.
Yeah. Next year, SEC Media Days. Dang, I wish Slay was here just so you could give him a little jab, Coach.
Yeah.
That's all right. In time. There
congrats on Vanderbilt's first 10-win season ever, and good luck with regard to Diego going to New York and you guys hopefully getting in that playoff situation. Thank you very much for your time, as always.
Always fun to be with you guys. Y'all take care.
All right, there he is, Vanderbilt football coach Clark